Let's get rocking here. All right. Yes, we're going to go over the quiz first. I'm getting very annoyed very quickly. All right, well, at least I found this. Okay, let's talk about the quiz before we do it. And the good news is that as a whole, the grades went up on the quiz, but the bad news is that we had no more hundreds. Well, we kind of did, but somebody had a brain cramp and put 35 instead of -3. But other than that, we were in good shape. Now, we did improve, but obviously we have a little bit more improvement that we need to do. So, I think because I was out yesterday, it kind of messed things up a little bit in terms of the routine of remembering. But let's, good, okay. First question, solve for B. K equals 1/2 mv squared. Got to get B by itself. First thing I got to the first thing I have to do is get rid of the 1/2. How do I get rid of the 1/2? Multiply it by 2. You could divide by 1/2, but folks, to divide by 1/2 is the same thing as multiplying by 2. Check this out. You're back in 6th grade. 4 divided by 1/2. Anybody here on Miss Santos in 6th grade? Keep, change, flip. Does that ring a bell? Yes. All right. 4 times 2 over 1 is 8. So to divide by 1/2 is the same exact thing as to multiply by 2. So over here, if you wanted to draw divided by 1/2, you could do that. But it's the same exact thing as multiplying by 2. So I'd rather just multiply by 2. So 2k equals mv squared. What's the problem now? Divide by m. Good. Die. Now I have to square root. And I get v is the square root of 2k over m. Okay, v is the square root of 2k over m. Any questions about that? All right, v is the square root of 2k over m. All right, so let's now go to number 2, which said, and here's a word that I circled on a number of people's papers, integral. What does integral mean? Has to do with whole number, positive or negative or 0. Integer integral is the adjective form of integer. So, negative 2x plus 8 minus 7x is greater than 29. And for the most part, I saw everybody doing this the right way. They got their x's together and they did negative 9x plus 8 is greater than 29. And then they did minus 8. That looks good. Negative 9x is greater than 21. Then they divide by negative 9, and then we start having issues. Okay, first off, I divided by a negative. You better switch that sign. Now, this is x. I don't care what this is. It's negative 2 point blah, 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 blah. Irrelevant. It wants the largest integral value for which this works. What is the largest integer that is less than negative 2 point blah, 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 blah? Negative 3. See, here it is on a number line. Ready? Negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. Here's negative 2 point blah, blah, blah. That's why I don't care what it is. I just know what's in between these two. What's the biggest integer that's less than that? Negative 3. RCB. What's that?
I had a 3 in my answer.
That's very nice.
It wasn't.
Oh, okay. All right. Number 3, I think we look good with choice C. All right, we're good on number 3?
Yes,
okay. Now, number 4, x squared minus 7x, or x squared minus 8x plus 7 equals 0. And what we said to you was that the whole point behind number 4 was to realize alternative strategies or alternate ways to get questions right without really knowing how to solve it. Now, you have not learned how to solve this yet. You will in the next, week or so. And they're not overly difficult. This one's not at all. But you don't know how to solve the 4 choices underneath it either. But what I can tell you is that whichever one of those 4 choices is correct, when you graph it, it will look exactly like the graph in the question. So, can everybody graph the question, x squared minus 8x plus 7 equals y on their calculator?
Sure thing. I already have it done. 'Cause I tried.
Okay, we all graph that, right?
Oh, and then that equation.
Now, here's the problem on this one. It's supposed to say equals y. It does not yet. So, basically, when it says equals y, you just put the y in for the 0. So to get it to say 0, I have to subtract 9 from both sides. Now for y2, put in choice B, but remember to put the negative 9 on that side. So x minus 4 squared minus 9 equals y. And you will see that those two graphs are directly on top of each other. Okay? Which means since they're the same graph, they have to have the same answers, they have the same roots, they have everything. Now, there's also another way to do it. Do you remember how the answers to a particular question like this are wherever the parabola crosses the x-axis? Are you with me on that? Right? This particular one here, the parabola will cross the x-axis at 1 and 7. If you look at the four choices and see, well, which one of these also crosses at 1 and 7, if you look at choice 2, this parabola, when graphed, will cross the axis at 1 and 7. Okay? So, again, those are the questions gone over. Make sure tonight, if you are unclear, you can do one of two things to be prepared for tomorrow's quiz, because I want to see everybody get 100 tomorrow. The first thing you can do is take out your quiz paper, redo it, and make sure that you get them all right, or redo any ones you got wrong. If you do that and you get them right, and you're like, now I remember, I'm cool, great, don't worry about it. If, for any other reason, you are not crystal clear on how to get one of these right, then what you should do is go to the website and look over the first couple of minutes of the video that we just did. Is there anybody who does not understand how to do any of these questions at this moment? Good. So what that means is if you watch the video tonight, it should remind you and you should be in good shape. Yes?
I got a question for
You got what?
I got 4 it's coming to be like
It's coming up what?
it's coming to be on top of the other one. It's on top.
What was your answer for choice 4?
3.
Did you type in -9?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to add the 9 to both sides. So it should say x minus 4 squared or x plus 4 squared. What's it? X plus 4 squared equals 9, or plus 9 equals 0. X plus 4 squared plus 9 equals 0. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but you're definitely doing something wrong, because think about this, all right? You ready? If you square something, what kind of answer do you get? Positive or negative? Positive. Then you're going to add 9, which is another positive. So how can you take a positive and add a positive and get 0? Yes, you did something wrong in how you entered it or something like that. Okay, now, on to today's do it. 10a minus 4b is equal to 5c. Solve for a. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. Solve for a means get a by itself. Die. 10a equals 5c plus 4b. Feel free to make it 4b plus 5c. Divide by 10. And as we spoke the other day, you should recognize it in this form. You should recognize it in this form, where I break the 10 apart into each of them. You should recognize when it's reduced. And you should also be able to recognize when you put the b in front of the c. Also, this could be c over 2, same exact thing. So I want you to be able to recognize all of the ways of writing the same exact thing. It's all the same operation, same step. It's just how we present the answer. That way you don't look at a choice and say, oh, that's not it. Okay? Next, factor using the greatest common factor. As soon as it tells you to use the greatest common factor, that means I'm going to look for the biggest number and or variable that divides into each. What's the biggest number that divides into each? Everybody. 7. How many x's?
2.
1.
Oh, it's gotta be in the.
You always choose the lowest number of x's. So 7x times x minus 3. Now, what if you thought it was x squared? If you thought it was x squared, put the squared out there. If I do 7x squared times x, what do I get? 7x cubed. oh, that can't be it, so it's not squared. 7x times x is 7x squared. 7x times negative 3 is negative 21x. That is why you will hear me say many, many, many times when we factor, it is anti-distribute. Always check yourself by distributing back. Quick mental checks by distributing back. Next, slope and y-intercept. First thing I need to do is subtract the 3x. Got to get the y all by itself. Danger, danger, danger. Don't forget about that negative there. Negative 5y equals negative 3x plus 10. Here I'm very careful to put the x's first because I'm so structure oriented in y equals mx plus b. So I want the x term right there. Divide by negative 5. And I get y equals 3/5 x minus 2. So the slope is 3/5. And the y-intercept is negative 2. Any questions? Yes.
Is it okay if we did reverse the?
It is, as long as you label the slope and y-intercept properly. But that is a little bit, it's kind of like something that people with lots of experience do all the time, but beginners, which you guys are still in the beginning stage, tend not to do that too much. But you would get full credit. All right, any other questions? All right, so let's talk a little bit more about factoring. And this was the sheet you were supposed to get. You had 22 yesterday, was it? 24, okay, so this is number 23, and what we're going to do is just keep working on this AM method and so on and so forth. And we're going to go through these, and then we're going to go back to yesterday's sheet and do some of the ones from yesterday's sheet. So this AM method that we started working on 2 days ago, A stands for add, M stands for multiply. So what I'm really asking myself is, what two numbers multiply to 20 and add to 9? And I should be careful about saying multiply to positive 20 and add to positive 9. Who thinks they know the answer to that? Two numbers multiply out to 20, add to 9. Right, so my answer then, my factors would be x plus 4 times x plus 5. Now, we never, what word did I just say?
Never.
Never stop there. We always do a quick mental check back. What is x times x?
X squared.
What's x times 5?
5x.
5x. What's 4 times x?
4x.
4x. What's 5x's and 4x's? 9x's. Sweet. 4 times 5 is? 20. Nice. Do the next one. Hey, did you take a pass? Sure. Anybody tries to attack you right in the head, that's it.
Do we just keep going or stop at the second
Stop the second one.
one? Okay.
Okay, so now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply out to positive 20 and add up to positive 12. What are we going to get there?
10 and 2.
X plus 10, x plus 2. Let's always quick mental check. X times x is?
X squared.
X times 2 is?
2x.
10 times x is?
10x.
What's 2 x's and 10 x's? 12 x's. And 10 times 2?
20.
20. Very nice. Okay, now I want you to skip forward now to number 14.
Oh, okay.
This is really unbelievable. Even my piece of paper towel is God bless.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so, remember back when they told you when you were a little kid that you should learn your times tables?
Yeah.
And some of you guys took that very, very seriously, and some of you guys didn't. Remember that? Those who took it very seriously will find this very easy. Those who do not will find it very difficult. But I am going to make your day in a minute or two. How many people, can everybody shut their eyes because, well, we gotta wait for Emmett to get in, because I don't want Emmett to get the answers out of this. All right, come on, hustle up there, right? Okay, so my question to you is this, and I need all your eyes shut because I need honesty here, and I don't want you, this is a little embarrassing.
Wait, stop.
Okay, everybody shut your eyes. Keep them shut, Mary. See, even as I was saying it, you opened them. Now, how many people here really aren't perfect with their times tables? All right, we have about 7 hands up. Okay, good. For you guys, you 7 people are going to love me. You're going to absolutely love me in a minute. I got the coolest trick coming for you. Ready? Check this out. Let's do number 14 first. It should be really, really easy, but we can use this to demonstrate in case you're having a brain cramp. Okay, what 2 numbers multiply out to positive 6 and add up to negative 5? Negative 3 and negative 2. So I get n minus 3 times n minus 2. I always do a quick mental check because it's always possible to make a stupid mistake. N times n is? N squared. N times negative 2? Come on, work with me. N times negative 2? Negative 2n. Negative 3 times n? Negative 3n. Negative 2n's and negative 3n's is? Negative 5n, which is what you want. And negative 3 times negative 2 is? 6. So, and positive 6. So I know I'm right. Sometimes people will put a 6 and a 1 here because you do get a 5 out of it. The problem is because it multiplies out to a positive, these signs have to be the same. And when you put a 6 and a 1 and the signs are the same, when you go to add, you always get either a positive 7 or a negative 7. So that doesn't work. And if you do the quick mental check, you will find your mistake. You will see your error. Now, let's say you forgot your numbers that multiply out to 6. Your factors of 6. Everybody get your graphing calculator out.
Calculator.
God bless. Go to y equals.
Y equals.
And what you're going to learn to do, for those who are a little multiplication challenged, or for those who, sometimes we get really big numbers, like, you might get 100, and it's not that dividing into 100 is hard, but there's so many factors you might miss one, or 51, or say 244. Even I don't have the ones for 244 off the top of my head. So when you get weird ones, or if you're just having a brain cramp, for example, taking negative 3 and writing 35 in your answer space, if you are to do that, this will eliminate the problems. In y equals, just look at your last number and type it, whatever the last number is. In this problem, it's 6, and just type divided by x. And then if you wanted to graph it, you could, but I'd rather you go to table. And then you're going to see numbers that multiply out to 6. Now, some of them are decimals. If they're decimals, they cannot be factors. Okay? You're looking for wherever there's whole number pairs. Now, if you remember AM, that you have to add to negative 5, you just look for the 2 numbers that add up to negative 5, and then you have your factors. Okay, does that make sense?
1, 2, 3, 6.
Right, well, by putting 6 over x, you're automatically going to get the factors. And then what you do is you look up and down the column, scrolling up and down until you find the pair that adds up to negative 5. Okay? All right, so now let's have you try number 10. But I would like you to do number 10, even though a lot of you can do it off the top of your head with the numbers. Let's just try the calculator once to see how you do with the calculator.
But the calculator confuses me.
That's why I want you to do it with the calculator. And by the way, type in negative 18 divided by x. Just don't put in 18, because then you're going to get, like, for example, for 18 and 7, you wouldn't see the pair of 9 and 2, because 9 and 2 would add up to 11 and not 7. But when you put negative 18 divided by x, you'll see it. So what factors did you come across in that table that multiply out to negative 18 and add up to negative 7? Ivy?
Negative 9
That's right. So therefore, I'm going to get n minus 9 times n plus 2. And even when I use a calculator, I do a quick mental check. N times n is n squared. N times 2 is 2n. Minus 9n adds up to negative 7n minus 18. Okay, so now using whatever technique you want and talking to people around you if you wish, do the next three. Yes, 11, 12, and 13. When you're done with yours, compare your answers to mine. You will find that one of my answers is wrong.
Am I supposed to like figure
Yeah, and I don't want you to say which one it is yet, but I want you to figure out the answer I gave that was wrong, and then explain why it's wrong.
Don't call it out.
Okay, which one's wrong?
Stop.
Everybody?
Oh, wow.
12 is wrong, right? What is wrong about it? Yeah, the 8 should be negative, right? And the 5 should be positive. Okay, good. Now what I would like you to do is get out yesterday's sheet. And you said you had 24 yesterday? Okay. Let's just scroll right to this point here. Did you answer these questions yesterday? Bless you. Okay. So I would like to see you guys do numbers 9 and 10.
Yeah, I think I lost it.
That's why I only said 9 and 10.
Once again, I think I lost.
Numbers 9 and 10. Don't forget AM, multiply out to the last term. You always start with that last term. It's our first focus. If you ever get stuck, you use that calculator.
So I think I lost.
How are we looking? For those struggling to find it, let's just take a look up here at number 11. This is an example of where things can get a little bit tricky. What two numbers multiply out to positive 18 and add up to positive 9? 6 and 3. Very good. So my answer would be n plus 6 times n plus 3. All right, folks. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Hey, say hello to my son for me, huh? No. All right, well, when you see him, third period. All right. Garusharun, Kadafis. Have a good one, guys.